Welcome back to the Counteract Podcast. My name is Allison Lind. I'm the host of the Thursday segment on this show, and I'm coming to you guys today with a bit of a shorter, more fun episode rather than some of the deeper topics that we've been getting into. Today, I wanted to do a monthly report, and this is something that actually blew up on TikTok first. I'm not really on TikTok, but like I've heard of people doing it, and it sounds like a really fun thing. And so I thought it would be fun to include a report in my segment once a month, at least for the time that I'm starting to transition the show, from more arts and pop culture and into kind of like a more human interest segment. This way I still get to include fun, artistic, pop culture types of things, but maybe more focused on like the lifestyle aspect of it rather than digging into the heavier hitting topics that emerge. So yeah, we're going to get into it. I'll even tell you what R.E.P.O.R.T stands for those of you that don't know. But first, I simply must tell you about our beloved, beautiful sponsors, and that is Patriot Mobile. You know them, you love them, and if you are tired of supporting companies that hate your values, you've probably thought about switching to them. If you haven't, now's the time. Because Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. And they're an example of putting the cause ahead of their profits, which is why Counteract USA loves to partner with them. They offer dependable nationwide coverage, giving you access to all 3 major networks, which means you get the same coverage you've been accustomed to without funding the left. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you first support the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the sanctity of life, and our military veterans and first responder heroes. Their customer service team is 100% US based, and they make switching super easy. You can keep your number, your phone, and even your upgrade. Their team will help you find the best plan for your needs. All you gotta do is go to patriotmobile.com/counteract or call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation when you use the code Counteract USA. That is, once again, patriotmobile.com/counteract or call 972-PATRIOT with the code Counteract USA. Okay, let's jump into this fun little episode. So report, my monthly report. What does that mean? Well, each letter in the word stands for something different. So the R stands for reading, the E stands for eating, the P stands for playing, the O stands for obsessing, the other R stands for recommending, and the T stands for trending. And I thought it'd be fun to do this as someone who tends to live maybe a more Christian, conservative type of lifestyle, but also who lives in New York City and just, I don't know, I do a bunch of random fun things. I just thought it'd be fun. I love listening to episodes like this. So I don't know, maybe the people out there who also enjoy this will find the podcast. And yeah, I just think it's really fun. So firstly, reading. What am I reading right now? I'm reading a few things. The first is, I've actually been reading the Percy Jackson series. I started it like right around finals time because I wanted it to be a summer read, and I've never read Percy Jackson before. And I know it's for like kids, like 12-year-olds, but it is so freaking good. Like, I found myself so invested, and obviously it's a very easy read, so it was just the perfect way to transition out of like all the heavy schoolwork that I was finishing and into something like fun and whimsical and escapism. So I've been reading that series, and currently I'm actually on, there's Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and then there's Heroes of Olympus, which is like not the offshoot, but the sequel series. So the first series ends when Percy is like 16. Heroes of Olympus takes place in the later years of high school, and I think it continues on until he's like applying for college. So it's just this really fun like coming of age series. So I just started Heroes of Olympus, The Lost Hero. They're introducing new characters, and basically what has happened is Percy and also this other kid. Percy doesn't appear in this book, but it's implied that he has disappeared from Camp Half-Blood, and the characters we're introduced to in this book are people that have been like discovered as half-bloods, and so, or as demigods, and they are sent to Camp Half-Blood, and one of them specifically has like disappeared. Basically, him and Percy switch places is, I think, what's going on here, but I don't know for sure because I'm only in the first book. So if you're looking for a fun, easy summer read, I recommend Percy Jackson. And even though it's about Greek mythology, I actually think it is so fun to like compare it to Christianity as I continue to read. Like, they talk a lot about the gods being like bad parents. And I'm just like, wow, I don't have that problem because my heavenly Father is very good all the time and consistent, and he loves me and he chooses me and adopts me and all of these things. So I don't know. I just think it's fun to like learn more about Greek mythology through a kid's series and then like actually contend with like my Christian faith alongside reading it. So that's what I'm reading right now, fiction-wise. I am also reading, theology-wise, a book called Teach Us to Pray by Corey Russell. John Tyson, the pastor at my church, wrote the foreword for it, and that's how I kind of knew about it. Someone at my church gave it to me, and I actually have already read through it once, and I'm rereading it again to just like soak it all in because every chapter is like very heavy-hitting points. And I want to like just get deeper into it. And really, prayer is something I want to be more intentional with. So it's helping me a lot. It talks about like, how do we learn God's love language, that being prayer and like sitting at his feet. The idea of being like a Mary versus a Martha. Obviously, Mary chooses the good portion by just sitting at the Father's feet. And so like, how do we access that as Christians through our prayer life? That's what the book is about. Highly recommend it. And I'm pretty sure it's like really cheap. So you should go check it out. And then lastly, biblically, I'm reading the Psalms. I just actually started, I guess it's not like a mentorship program, but I received a mentor at my church, which is such a huge blessing. And she decided that we could read through the Psalms together, like one Psalm a day, read it back and forth to each other. And so like one day I get to listen to it. The next day I get to read it to her. So doing that as well, loving it. And you know, the Psalms are just so beautiful. Like they never get old. And you can always find something new in each Psalm. So that's what I'm reading. Moving on to eating. Guys, I love food and it brings me so much joy. And I used to not be someone who loved food. I used to like restrict myself a lot in high school, and I was an athlete. And so I was like, I don't know, I was just too focused on it. And it like became a thing that I really dreaded. But as I've gotten older and into adulthood and still pursued athleticism, but pursued like a life that is like just full of joy and like eating and a diet and a lifestyle that is full of joy, I have fallen in love with food all over again and fallen in love with like making fun, creative, exciting meals. So this summer, or at least this month, I have been eating a lot of pasta. Specifically, I don't even know if this is like a real genre of pasta, but like summer pastas, like anything that, you know, it's not like always hearty and like hot. Sometimes it's a pasta salad and it's cold, or just pastas with a lot of color in them. So there's this one that I actually made for the moms at work and they freaking raved about it. So I've been making a lot more, which is a creamy zucchini pasta where you make like a creamy zucchini sauce. So obviously you use zucchini. I like to throw in extra veggies, especially when I'm at work, to like trick them into eating their veggies. So I'll do like spinach or kale. I think spinach works better. And then it's just mixed with like onion and garlic, a little bit of milk or like heavy cream, and then lots and lots of Parmesan. So it still tastes really cheesy and creamy, but it's green, and you put it on your pasta and it's like a really fun green, like mac and cheese almost, except it's healthy. So I've been loving that. And also I made something recently that was like basically like pasta with just like ricotta, tomato, and summer squash. And that was really good because it was kind of a light like flavor profile. So I can pair it with like salmon, or sorry, there's like a bug for those of you that are watching. You see me swatting the air. Pair it with like salmon or like a well-seasoned meat. That's what I've been loving to eat lately. For playing, my life is kind of like centered around play. Like everything feels like play to me. Even when I go to work, like I just get to spend time with like girls that I've grown to love. So it's all play for me. But something that I've approached with a more playful mindset is actually skateboarding. I brought my old skateboard home or to the city back home. and I've been learning to skate around mostly so I can help my parkour, like help have more spatial and aerial awareness, and also better like commitment, because honestly skating is scarier than parkour, and it's way more dangerous than parkour, even though it doesn't appear that way. You can calculate risk a lot better in parkour. So I've been learning to let go through skateboarding, and I've definitely taken a few tumbles, but it's been really fun. And I honestly might get a better board, because this board that I'm riding is for like 8-year-old me. So it's really tiny, and I'm riding it enough that it's becoming hard to ride with a smaller board. So it may be an extra hobby that I pick up in my dwindling free time. But anyways, we're on O now, obsessing. Well, I have been obsessing over Percy Jackson, I will be honest, because the TV show just came out, and the books are just so good. Like I probably will, I don't know if I'll reread them right away, but I'm already wanting to like reread the books. Those have just been so fun. They just like awakened like a childlike spirit in me that I was kind of missing with school. So I've really been loving those books, and I've actually like gotten to read and enjoy them. So that's been something I've been really loving. I've also been obsessing over gaining a deeper access to heaven through my prayer life, which is like a total 180 pivot, but truly like I have really been thinking and praying and kind of seeking the Lord on this. Like, how do I get closer to you? Like, I'm so unsatisfied with teetering on the brink of like constant prayer and self-sufficiency. Like, I don't have a good routine right now, a good prayer routine. Like, I want to be able to like sit with the Father at like 5 a.m. and just pray for hours and hours and hours and receive like revelation and vision and guidance. Like I want a prayer life that is truly like tapped in. Like, what is the secret place? You know, I want to discover what my secret place is, in a deeper, more intentional way. So I've also been obsessing over that and thinking about that a lot and praying about that a lot. Yeah. And then to pivot back to like something kind of silly, I've been loving two things. One, this American flag sweater that I got recently. It's not Ralph Lauren, unfortunately. I do have one, but it's in navy from Ralph Lauren. This is Brandy Melville, and I know they're controversial, but I wanted like a good summer color. Like the other one's so dark, it feels like a winter color or a fall color. So I got this, and I've been obsessing and living in this sweater. Also, summer vests. Like vests that can be worn in the summer, like colorful floral ones, lightweight, like fun summer colors. Kind of random, but I've been enjoying that. It's such a fun way to layer. And yeah, I have like 3 now that I've bought for different occasions, of course. Recommending. I feel like I could recommend everything I've just talked about on this list, honestly. Recommending all the books I mentioned, recommending summer pastas, recommending skateboarding if you're feeling adventurous, and also please be safe if you do that. I do not want to be responsible for someone getting injured. But one thing, what I wrote down when I was really thinking about this was like intentional generosity, because I've been dwelling on the early church lately and just how like full of awe and full of like a desire to see other people's needs met. Like they were so rooted in fellowship that it says no needy person among them. And that is something I want to pursue, especially with things like my finances and my times. Like I want to be more generous. And I also just think I've received so much generosity from the body of Christ in the past like 5 months that, yeah, that's my recommendation to people. Consider radical generosity. Like, what does it look like to see no needy person among you? How deep can you get, and how intentional can you get with the giving of your time, yourself, your money, your possessions, whatever it is, your gifts? Yeah, I don't really know. it's a recommendation, I guess. I recommend that you consider. But that feels like I'm preaching to you guys. And that's really not what I'm trying to do. I don't really know where I was going with this when I wrote it down, but I did write it down. So, yeah. Treating. The last one is treating. Well, I have not really. I mean, I've been treating myself kind of constantly. Like, I enjoy a slow breakfast in the mornings, and I, am treating myself by reading fun books, and I treated myself by buying this sweater. But the biggest treat I'm receiving is actually, I am leaving in like 8 hours, 6 hours, something like that, to go to Oslo, Norway. And when you're listening to this, I'll actually have just gotten back like yesterday, but I'm recording all of this before I go. I'm going to Scandinavia, and I'm treating myself to a fun little parkour trip and also a little pilgrimage, because my family's from Sweden. So the first half of my trip will be in Norway, second half in Sweden. And both of them are for parkour jams, but I saved a few days in between and at the end to go out on my own and explore the city and, I don't know, connect with my roots. Sounds like silly and cheesy, but yeah, that's what I'm treating myself to. So, okay, this episode has actually been longer than I thought it would, and I actually have to run to do some like fun little interviews that you guys have already listened to at this point, because they're going to be released before this episode. But so excited to just continue this transition of my segment, and I just can't wait to do it. So I'm going to jet and go record those interviews, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please follow me on Instagram and DM me if you end up like reading or doing or just applying any of these things to your life. I would love to know. I love connecting with people over these things. So yeah. Okay. Love you guys so much. I will see you next week. Peace out. Go in peace. Okay. Love you. Bye.